This is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to make a stretch bracelet with seed beads. Now, we've made many stretch bracelets here at Beadaholique, and today I'm going to be using a couple of different sizes of seed beads and a couple of different sizes of Czech fire polish just to get a really fun organic look. So you can see my finished piece up here. Now these are all little individual bracelets, and you can see I've broken one out here, and it just gives it a nice little style there to add in the 8/0 and the 6/0 beads along with some of those fire polish. So I'm going to be making another one of my single bracelets here, and to do that I'm going to be using the Opelon stretch cord. So I have a big eye needle that's going to help me out as well. I have a pair of snips, and I have a little bit of glue, so I'll show you how to get a nice secure stretch bracelet. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in, and then I'm going to start talking about the beads that we're going to be using. So I am going to cut off about 10 inches or so of my Opelon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to string on a little bit of that Opelon to my big eye needle. Now you can use a bead stop on one side if you like, or you can just kind of hold it with your hands. This works out really, really quickly. Okay, so because we're at the starting point, I'm going to start by adding a couple of the 6/0 beads, and I have a couple mixes here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 of my little red mix here, and then I'm going to move on over here to pick up a couple of the metallic 8/0 mix. So you can just see the nice little size there. And I'm going to pick up another one here, and just start picking up your beads however you like. You can pick up random colors, sizes, any sort of pattern that you want. Especially if you are making a whole bunch of these, you can really have a lot of fun. And then you just slide them down on your needle, and you can slide them down there towards the end. All right, so we're just going to keep picking them up. I recommend a totally random order. You can have a lot of fun with this. Again, all of these are nice little mixes, so each bracelet will be totally unique, and I kind of love that. Okay, so I've got some seed beads going on there. So let's jump up here. So I have 3 different sizes of Czech fire polish. I have a 6mm, a 4mm, and a 3mm. So that 3mm is going to be nice and small, which is going to be great. So it's going to almost look very similar to one of those 6/0 beads. Pick up a few more here, and I love using this coral color. So again, like I said, I have a couple of mixes here, and then I do have a couple solid colors. Let's see, let's go with one of these. So the solid color I have here, which is my base color, it's my beautiful coral color, that is the Preciosa Soul Gel, and those come in really rich summery colors. And all of those links are down below there for you if you'd like to check some of those out. And this works with a lot of different seed beads. Today I am using the Czech seed beads, but you can also use Toho or Miyuki. I just want to go for a nice big kind of round size. All right, so now I'm at the point where I want to add in another fire polish bead. And I'm going to bring in one of my 4mm beads just to give it a little extra sparkle and just focus on changing up that size. All right, and we're just going to keep going here. And I'm just going kind of randomly, but when you put it all together, it does look really, really nice. And this makes a wonderful stacking bracelet. So if you are into stacking up an armful of bracelets, these are really, really fun. Okay, let's see now. I think I'm going to add a couple more of my coral beads here, and I'm going to add on one of my Czech fire polish beads. All right, so then we're going to continue, and let's break out some of those red beads. Those are beautiful. Just adding and adding. And you just add as many beads as you need for the length of your bracelet, because obviously this is going to come together at the very end. So let me go ahead and start to bring out my ruler, because I want to make a 6 1/4 inch bracelet. So it's going to be 6 1/4. Ooh, I'm almost there. And you want to make sure not to pull it, just kind of let it slack. So I'm almost at 6 1/4, so I'm going to keep adding a few more beads. Now, because we added a couple of those big ones in the beginning, you're going to want to do the same where you add maybe another big one, because what's going to happen is we're going to do a little knot and then we're going to run it back through. So you want to make sure that you don't have those little itsy bitsy tiny beads right at the front. So you can see I've tapered off a little bit there, so I need to add maybe another bead. Let's go with one of these guys here. There we go. And let's see. And maybe a nice yellow one there. Okay. So now, a couple too many. Let's see here. Let's take off some from the front. All right, so now I have that big bead there at the beginning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my little big eye needle, making sure I'm at the right spot. Oh, I think I want to add one more back on. And this is why I recommend using the big eye needle. It's just a lot easier to pick up those beads, and it doesn't hurt your Opelon at all. Okay, so I'm where I want to be. I'm going to remove that. So now I'm going to take my two ends here, and this is why you want to cut off about 10 inches or 8 inches or so, just more than what you're going to want because you're going to want a little room to tie. So now we're going to bring our two ends together, and I'm just going to tie a simple overhand knot, just bringing that all the way around and bringing those together. And now just sort of holding that with your fingers, just go ahead and tie another overhand knot and bring that down there and give it a nice little tug. You don't want to pull too tight, otherwise you're going to have your little bracelet here kind of look crunched, and you don't want that to happen, but pull it nice and snug there. So now what we're going to do is you're going to take that cord and run it through a couple of adjacent beads. Now if you need to string on your big eye needle again to get this to work easy, and let's go ahead and do that. I'll show you how that looks. It's like I'm just having a little trouble getting it through there. So now we're going to go through a couple of those beads, and I did end up with a couple little ones there, but easy enough to kind of pull that through. It'll get nice and tight in there. And let's go ahead and remove that. And then if you've done what I said correctly by having a couple large beads on the other side, we can do that on this side as well without having to add our needle. Go through and come out the other side. Okay, so now we have our little knot there. Now you don't need to run your cord all the way through like we have done in the past because these are so delicate. When you're working with larger beads, we have a nice video on how to secure your stretch cord to help you with that. Okay, so now let's come in. So we recommend using the GS Hypo cement for this, mostly because it has this really great little pinpoint needle end that will help you really get your glue in there and on that knot. So we're just going to come in and we're just going to coat our knot on all sides there. There we go. And now go ahead and slide that big bead right over that knot. So you're going to kind of hide that knot a little bit. And then you can bring in your other cords just like so on the sides. All right. So now what I want to recommend you do is let this dry for a little while, a couple of hours, so you can kind of do this all in one. So if you're going to make, 8 or 10 of these bracelets, you can do so. And then once that's dried, come into the ends here. And I'm kind of trying to get my hands out of the way so you can see. So we have our little end there, and what I recommend here is, again, this is why the GS Hypo cement is so great. Come in and sort of fill that little bead right there with just a little bit of that glue. And then you can come in with your snips or your scissors and trim that off. So you get a nice little closure there on one side, and then you just simply repeat that on the other side here. So again, this is why you kind of want those bigger beads there at the end and the closure. Once you get to doing this, it can just be 2 or 3 beads next to each other. So you can kind of start to plan your patterns. But then this way, you will have a nice secure bracelet and no little extras hanging out, nothing coming out of it. So I also then recommend you let this dry for a little while before you try to stretch it and wear it and pull it over your wrist and all that good stuff. Oops, I just want to put my glue away. There we go. All right, so it's super, super easy. We recommend the Opelon for this. You can create all kinds of fun little bracelets. And don't forget, we have lots of mixes in the 6-0s and the 8-0s for you to play with. So choose your favorite color and combination of seed beads to create your own personal look and stack them up on your bracelet for a fun, colorful arm of bracelets. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also hit that subscribe button and that bell as well. And of course, you can see everything here over at Beadaholique.com.